There are some design specifications. Rather than see, you don't have anything to design it actually here. There are few important points which you need to consider. Okay. So now, so let me call that. See, depending upon the shape of the nozzle, there are some design specifications. Design specifications for nozzles and diffusers. Okay. This holds good for both steam nozzles as well as the gas nozzles. Say for example, I have a nozzle of this kind. So this is my central axis. So let me consider a kind of a CD nozzle. So this is how it is. Okay, I do have a little bit of converging portion and diverging portion. This is my inlet and this is my exit. So I have an inlet and I have exit. So this is where the steam enters, steam inlet, and I do have a pressure which is inlet pressure. I have a velocity and I have a specific volume, whatever it may be. So this is my steam outlet, steam exit, and I do have an, we call it as exit pressure. So usually this is called as back pressure. Okay, and you have the what we call it as exit velocity. Now what will happen? Say if this is my section 1 1 if I take, and this is the exit section if I call it as 2 2. In between you have the throat section. Okay, now how this pressure drop takes place? See, I told that pressure drop will takes place along the length. So if this is the length of your nozzle, so this is the length of your nozzle. If I take it as L, so pressure drop takes place along the length of the nozzle. Let me write that. So pressure drop, okay, so it takes place along the length of the nozzle. So it will be, if I go with the fact that it will be pressure drop per unit length, okay, per unit length of the nozzle. What it is actually, say if I try to represent it in terms of millimeters or centimeter or meter, very rarely we'll have a nozzle of couple of meters. So it will be either centimeter. So pressure drop per centimeter, pressure drop per millimeter. So depending upon, that's how you're going to define it. That means if suppose L is a length, let it be of 10 centimeters. So I can divide this into 10 parts. If it is of 5 centimeters, I can divide it into 5 parts. So what it is actually, so that means, so if I divide it, so this is the first one, second division, just to note down what is the pressure drop at that particular point. That's it. So pressure drop at those particular points. That's what we are looking at. Okay. So if I call this as AA, so BB, CC, DD. So I'm trying to look at the pressure drop at each and every section. And each section, so E, F, G. Okay. G and H. Just I'm trying to show you an example of few centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 centimeters or something. So you are going to, so what the specification would be, I'm going to calculate in terms of pressure drop per centimeter or pressure drop per millimeter. If I have a very big nozzle, then it will be pressure drop per meters. Okay. Now, how are you going to determine the size of the nozzle? See, when I go with the size of the nozzle, it all depends on the quantity of the fluid that is flowing in. So here the quantity of fluid is the discharge or steam. Okay. So the size of the nozzle, the size of the nozzle should be proportional to your discharge. It should be proportional to your discharge of the working fluid, that is your steam. Okay, I am going to represent your discharge by meter cube per second. What it is actually, size of the nozzle means it is D. That means your D is proportional to Q. So higher the discharge, bigger the diameter. Smaller the discharge, smaller the diameter. So it can be D1, it can be inlet diameter, it can be exit diameter, or it can be throat diameter. All depends on your discharge. So discharge, if I take for a rho AV, if I take for something like a compressible fluid, okay, then your mass flow rate comes into picture. So here I'm trying to deal with the steam, so I can go with a discharge. So the D is, so in between I can go with D is also proportional to your mass flow rate if I'm dealing with a compressible fluid. Okay, and also your mass flow rate, what I told you, your mass flow rate, which is nothing but, so if I call it as your mass flow rate is given by, your mass flow rate is given by m dot is equal to rho into A into your velocity. Fine. Now, or I can write the same thing as already we have seen. It is A into velocity by your specific volume. Suppose if this specific volume, see, if it is for a dry, we will get it from your steam tables. If it is for superrated, I can get it from the steam tables. Superrated, I'll get it from your steam tables. So what will happen if it is a wet steam after expansion? So in that case, I need to consider for your dryness fraction. So your x into corresponding A, where your x is the dryness fraction. So I need to look at for the dryness fraction of the steam also becomes very, very important. So and also I told that your V1 most of the time, majority of the time, your V1 will be 0 until unless it's specified. Until unless it's specified, so your inlet velocity will be negligible. Okay, so that's it. Now, other factors, what it is actually. So as I told, size of the nozzle, and that means what are the parameters which we need to consider? Your inlet area, your inlet area, that is if I call it as A1, okay, throat area, it can be A, T or whatever it may be, and your exit area, your A2. If I call it 2 as the throat, and I can have 3 as this particular thing. So if I try to put it something like this, so if I have a small picture, so if I take this as section 3, if I have this as section 3, then throat I can have it as 2, 2. That's it. That's the only thing. So throat becomes 2. So then this numbers I can change it to, instead of T, I can change it to 2. That's it. So just a convention, that is. This will be A3. Now, one more factor that comes into picture here. Now, if I try to extend this particular thing, so this particular thing, if I try to expand, this also if I try to extend, that's how it is actually. What we are going to get? We are going to get something called as an angle or alpha of converging. So you can call it as theta of converging angle. This is your theta of diverging angle. Okay, so few books they go with alpha notation and few books go with theta notation. So I do have, then what will happen? I can say wherever this particular thing, so till throat, so this will become my converging length till throat, and this will become my diverging length. The converging length and diverging length. So few more factors which we need to consider here is actually, one is the angle of convergence. The angle of convergence, that is theta C. The angle of divergence, that is theta D. Angle of convergence and angle of divergence. And if I'm trying with, if I'm considering the angle of convergence and angle of divergence, so the length of the convergent portion or convergent section. So length of the convergent section, which is L suffix C, and the length of the divergent section, so which is L suffix D. Okay. Other than this, see, as I told, see, this all comes from your size of the nozzle. See, all the size of the nozzle proportional discharge has given to all these things. At the same time, your discharge depends on, say, as I told, D is proportional to your diameter. Instead of going for a single nozzle of a bigger diameter, can I go for two nozzles of a smaller diameter? So it's possible. So all these things will lead to one more factor called as number of nozzles. So number of nozzles, which is directly proportional to, so if I call that as N or I or whatever it may be, which is directly related to your mass flow rate or discharge. Depends on your mass flow rate. So more the mass flow rate. Okay. At the same time, your angle of inclination, so thickness of the nozzle. See, some of the other factors. So with other factors, what we need to do actually, things we need to consider is the thickness of the nozzle. So thickness of the nozzle. So what should be the thickness of the nozzle? Then, so if I'm going with n number of nozzles, I should able to pitch. That means how we are going to put your nozzles, how many nozzles we are putting. So thickness of the nozzle, pitch of the nozzle, this also comes into picture. So as I told, your mass flow rate is equal to A into V by small v. So if I write it at section 1, this will be A1 into V1 by small v1. So if I write it at throw section, it will be A2 into V2 by small v2. If I write it at exit section, it will be A3 into V3 by small v3. So your mass flow rate will remain same, but your area, your velocity, and your specific volumes are different at each and every sections along the nozzles. Okay, that also you have to keep in mind when I am trying to use this equation. Okay, so now wherever the steam becomes wet, I need to consider a dryness fraction. Okay, so what about the diffuser? So now, in case of a diffuser, actually, you don't have any throat and all. The same thing, actually, whatever I wrote for this is for a nozzle. Now for a diffuser, few things we have to eliminate from already what we have discussed. So if I consider only the diffuser part, okay. In the diffuser part, what is important? Anyhow, pressure drop or what we call it as pressure increase. Okay. Instead of pressure drop, here it will be pressure increase per unit length, because it is pressure recovered in a diffuser, and there is a pressure loss in the nozzle. Then when it comes to size of the nozzle, its size of the diffuser also it's also depends on your discharge. So the same thing. So pressure, the size of the diffuser is proportional to the discharge. Once again, discharge of the steam, same thing, discharge of the steam. That means your diameter is proportional to your QRO or something. But here I don't have any throat area and all. So then what is left here actually? It is your inlet area and exit area. That's all. So if I take inlet area as 1, so inlet area A1, the exit area A2. So I don't have any throat area. Then here I don't have any convergence angle. But in a diffuser, the divergence angle theta d is very, very important. I can go and write the fourth factor is the divergence angle. Divergence angle theta d or alpha d is important. Then the length of the divergence. The length of the divergent portion of the diffuser. Divergent portion of the diffuser, which is LD. So these are the factors which are important. Anyhow, thickness is there, thickness of the nozzle or thickness of the pitch, those things will come automatically. So thickness of the diffuser. So usually we want to go for n number of diffusers. It will be most of the times 99 out of 100 times it will be a single nozzle. We won't go for n number of diffusers. Very hardly we go for it. Okay. Now one more thing is very important here actually. Already we have defined what is your diffuser efficiency. That is delta P by your half rho V square. And sometimes I have seen that your pressure recovery coefficient actual is different and your theoretical is different. Okay, the ratio of actual pressure recovery coefficient and theoretical recovery coefficient, they will give some ratio 0.9 or 0.95 in case of a diffuser. So that you have to consider when you are trying to calculate your diffuser efficiency. So those things you have to keep in mind. Okay, so this is about your the theory part of your diffusers. Now let us try to solve few numericals. Okay, so I was preparing some tutorial sheets actually. So some tutorial problems are there, and I will try to upload it. So one numerical is there. Anyway, we'll start with a simple numerical. So most of you, one particular thing what I want to do, this is a steam and gas turbines course. So everyone try to have a steam tables. Most of you have the steam tables with you? You have steam tables. So it can be Kurmi, yeah, it can be Kurmi or, so what I use actually, I have ASME steam tables. If you want, I can put it in the Google Classroom and I will share it across to you. So ASME steam tables is there. So which I use, this is a standard one which I'm using. Okay. Now let's try to look at this particular problem. The problem is something like this. See, dry saturated steam enters a frictionless adiabatic nozzle with negligible velocity at a temperature of 300 degrees Celsius. It is expanded to a pressure of 5000 kilopascals or 5 megapascals, whatever it may be. The mass flow rate is 1 kg per second. Calculate the exit velocity of the steam. Okay, so now when we give this particular problem, you are supposed to use steam tables. So this being the first problem, I'm trying to give all the properties of the steam. Now, first and the foremost thing, go back to your applied thermodynamics in pure substance or when you are trying to solve problems on vapor power cycle. Whenever we come across the pressure and the temperature, we will go to the steam tables and look for its corresponding saturation temperature. Okay. Now, the moment I tell this particular pressure or something, you look at its corresponding saturation temperature. Now, for this particular numerical, they are telling that it is a dry saturated steam. Okay, directly they are telling a dry saturated steam. So you have to go to the temperature based table. You have to go to temperature based table at saturation temperature of 300 degrees. So you have to look at the corresponding pressure, which is 8593 kilopascals. Maybe it may be rounded off to 8590 or whatever. Don't worry about that rounding off and because your steam tables to steam tables, it may vary at fraction level or whatever it may be. So 5700 on one steam table, 5702 will be in other tables. Don't fight for that. So whatever you have in your steam tables, so in the examination also, you try to write actually what steam tables you are trying to use. Okay, if you are using the steam and maybe steam tables by RS Kurmi or steam tables by Rajput or steam tables ASME steam tables, try to use it. Otherwise, I prefer that everyone use a common steam table so that everyone's values are same. Okay, now see in steam tables, you know that there are three columns. One is the enthalpy column, the other one is the entropy column, other one is the specific volume column. So now depending upon the your steam table to steam table, so enthalpy, most of the steam tables will have enthalpy of liquid and enthalpy of vapor, that's all. And some books they will have enthalpy of the liquid plus enthalpy of the vapor and enthalpy of the water. So they take the difference of it and they'll try to give it. So that is also there. Now entropy, so it is saturated liquid and saturated vapor. Specific volume, So you have to look at all these steam tables are prepared at atmospheric pressure 1 bar. Okay, this particular has been prepared. Okay, this particular steam tables. So steam particular thing though with the reference, and it has been extrapolated. So all these things are based on certain formulas and extrapolated. That's why we'll be getting different values. Okay. Now specific volume meter cube per kg, enthalpy kilojoules per kg, entropy kilojoules per kg degree Celsius or kg degree Kelvin. Don't fight for that because it's a delta T. It can be difference in temperature. It can be degree Kelvin or degree Celsius. Few textbooks will go with degree Kelvin and few textbooks will go with degree Celsius. It doesn't matter. So the values are same. So this is what they are given. So 3 and I will go to the your saturation temperature steam tables. For 300 degrees Celsius, I will look for the enthalpy values. You can write all the values or you can just simply what is required only you can write it. Okay, here this being the first column, I have written everything. I have prepared a column and table and I have given all the values. In some of the problem statements in the examination, they will try to give you all the values. You should know how to use it. Okay, either take the values from your steam tables or try to use the values which is given in the table. Now the second point, they are telling that it is expanded to a pressure of 5000 kilopascals. That means it is expanded to a pressure of 5000 kilopascals. There is a drop in the pressure. So you can go to the pressure tables or in the temperature tables itself, go to the value of 5000 kilopascals or 5 megapascals and find out the corresponding saturation temperature and the corresponding enthalpies for liquid and vapor, entropy for liquid and vapor, and your specific volume for vapor and liquid. Okay, you can just make a note of all these values. Okay, what it is actually now, what is 1? 1 is your inlet. Okay, 2 is your exit. Okay, now if I try to draw the HS diagram, let's go on try to solve this actually. Before doing this, let's try to put an HS diagram like this. So that will make you to understand better. Okay, this is my HS diagram. And usually what it is actually, what type of expansion it is actually, it is your, see, when I am trying to use this particular thing, I should able to use the dome. Okay, dome. What it is actually, I am trying to expand from a point 1 and it is expanded to some point 2, expanded from 1 to 2. So if I try to draw the corresponding pressures, so this may be a pressure P1 and this may be a pressure, this is your P1, this is your P2. So that's how your HS diagram will look like. And you can solve this problem either from steam tables or you can directly go to your Mollier chart and you can solve it. Go to your corresponding pressure, which is temperature line 300 degrees Celsius, which is saturated on that particular thing. Mark the point, draw a vertical line where it's meet the 5 megapascals or 5 maybe 5000 kilopascals. You note down the point, draw two vertical lines, you will get H1 minus H2. Directly you will get H2. So you need not find X. So there are two, whatever you're going to put the point, you can directly find the your X also. That is Dynus-Faction also. So you can, so I want you people, I'm going to use this particular thing, steam tables to solve this problem. The same problem I request you people to solve using Mollier chart. Maybe your values may change. So if I'm getting X is equal to some 0.92 or something from the steam tables, you may get 0.91 from your Mollier chart. So there will be slight variation in the values. That's all. Okay. Now let us try to write the values. So at point 1, H1 it's a dry saturated. So H1 is equal to, it is 2751 kilojoules per kg. 2751 kilojoules per kg. Now what is the corresponding entropy? This is a dry saturated steam. S1 is equal to 5.7081 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Now what is your entropies? That is SFG. Okay, what is your SFG at point 2? So SFG at point 2 or SFG, I can call it as liquid. So SFG is equal to 5.7081 0.9735 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin or whatever it may be. Then what is your entropy of liquid SFL? Okay, it is 2.9206 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Okay, difference of this will give SFG. So this is actually SG. So rather than call it SG, this is actually, this is SG2, this is SL2. That is saturation liquid 2. So now, what is your SFG at point 2? It is actually SG2 minus SL2. That is entropy for the steam. So at a dry point, and entropy for this particular thing at liquid point. That is 5.9735 minus 2.9206. So if I take the difference of it, I will be getting the entropy for the. Why I am doing that actually? Because if you look at it, this is in the liquid region, or it's in the mixture of liquid, that is in the water vapor region. So that's why I'm doing that. Now what is the HF2? So because that is in this particular thing, so I have to go for HF2. HF2. So HF2 is equal to enthalpy to 1154.5. 1154.5 kilojoules per kg. Then what is your Hg2? Hg2 is equal to 2794.2 kilojoules per kg. Then what is your HFG2? HFG2 is equal to Hg2 minus HF2, that is 2794.2 minus 1154.5. So I got all the values. Okay. Yes.
Sir, how can you confirm the first row and second rows are for gas or liquid?
No, this is given in the problem. No, this is given the problem. It's a steam.
So that's for FG to 5.97 is there, no?
See, this is saturated vapor, saturated liquid. See, it's clearly given in the steam tables. Saturated liquid, saturated vapor. Entropy for saturated liquid, saturated vapor. Specific one for saturated liquid and saturated vapor. That is actually, I have shown this blue line. No, it is along that particular line. So you know that if you studied your pure substance, this is called as saturated liquid line, and this is called as saturated vapor line, and this is your critical point.
Then
This you should study. Yeah.
saturated vapor we can also consider 2794.2, no, sir?
Saturated vapor line 2794. Yes, 2794 only. That is for the pressure 5 lakh kilopascals. Yes, 5000 kilopascals. I consider that only. See, what's your doubt?
Sir, I have doubt for first row and second row. How can we get to know that?
See, now that's what I've been telling. See, read the problem. Dry saturated steam enters the frictionless adiabatic nozzle with an auxiliary at a temperature of 300 degrees Celsius. So I go to your steam tables based on temperatures. So you have two types of steam tables. Steam tables based on temperature, steam tables based on pressure. How to recognize it? Look at the first column. If you look at the first column, if the first column is having the value of temperatures, it is based on temperatures. If the first column is based on, if it is on the pressures, it is called as pressure based. So let me go to the ASM steam tables. I will show that. Okay, let me go to the particular thing. So I have that. So it's in my ATD course. Okay, I'll show you that particular thing. So whether I have it here only, let me check. In my ATD course. Yeah, here also I have steam tables. Okay, this is what I've been using. So ASM steam tables. So look at this actually. So you have this particular thing. So I have downloaded this actually. Saturated steam tables actually based on temperature table, based on pressure table, and you have for the superheated tables. Superheated tables which are separating. Okay. Now, if I try to look at this, so this is for the Fahrenheit. I will go to the SI one. Okay, so look at this actually. Look at this. This is the table based on temperature. So it starts with the starting point of your temperature is your triple point. Maybe I'll try to make it bigger. Look at this. The starting point here is as actually it's your triple point. It doesn't start with 0 degrees Celsius. It starts with the triple point. Okay. Now you look at this. So corresponding to the temperature, what is the pressure? It is in megapascals or it will be in kilopascals, depending upon the type of table. Then you have the specific volume. This is the specific volume at the liquid. This is the specific volume for the vapor. Okay. Then enthalpy for the liquid, enthalpy for the vapor, HL and HV, whatever it is, HG, whatever it is, the sign convention, it doesn't matter. Then entropy for the liquid and entropy for the vapor. Okay. Don't worry. See, this particular ASME table has the temperature on right hand side and left hand side, so it's easy for you to read. That's the only thing. So temperature table will start. See, properties of the saturated water and steam based on temperature table or temperature. Okay. So your starting point will be temp. Now I have to go to the temp. What the temperature they given? It is 300 degrees Celsius. So let me go to that value. Okay. Let me go to that value. Okay. 300 degrees Celsius. So able to see? So I have this value 300 degrees Celsius. Then what is the corresponding your pressure? As I told, so I have taken from one by other this particular thing. It is 8593. It was given in the problem statement. If you go and look into your ASME steam tables, it is 8.5877 megapascals or 8587.7 kilopascals. So there is a slight variation in the values. Okay, then what we have? You have your specific volume 0.0014, but here I have to till to 6 decimals. Okay, 0.001404 meter cube per kg. This is the specific volume of the liquid. Then what is the specific volume of the your vapor? It is 0.021663. But what I have given is 0.0216 up to 4 decimals. I'll round it off. Okay. Then enthalpy. Enthalpy of your liquid 1344.8 or 1345. So there's a slight decimal change. Then what is the enthalpy of your vapor? It is 2749.6. So maybe depending upon the formula they use, extrapolation they use, actually I have given the value of 2751. Then what is the entropy of the liquid? Okay, corresponding to 300 degrees Celsius, it is 3.2547. Then what is the enthalpy with respect to the vapor? It is 5.7058 or 5.7051 what I have given. So only in the decimals or somewhere it's going to change. This is how you have to get this. So you have to get this value from your steam tables. Now the second thing they are telling that it is expanded to a value of 5 lakh or 5000 kilopascals or 5 megapascals. Okay. What I will do actually, I will go to your steam tables based on pressure. So pressure, I will go to 5 megapascals. I will go to 5 megapascals. Look at this. Okay. I have 5 megapascals. Look at this. I have a 5 megapascals or 5000 kilopascals. What is the corresponding saturation temperature? It is 263.94. So I have given 263.91 from the table. It's the problem statement. Then what is the corresponding specific volume? 0.001286. I have given 0.0012. Then what is the specific volume with respect to the vapor? It is 0.039446 from ASME steam, or I have given 0.0394. Then corresponding value of your enthalpy of the liquid, enthalpy of the vapor 2794.2, then entropy of the liquid which is 2.9207 or 9206, doesn't matter, then 5.9737. or 5.9735. So only in the second decimal, third decimal, only the decimals are some numbers are with 1 or 2, it's going to vary. Other than this is how you have to get it from the stream tables. Is that clear? Still you have any doubts?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. Now we'll go back to the problems.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
That's how you see. The only thing is actually you people have to go to this particular stream tables and try to use it properly. Once you learn how to use it, it becomes master. So you should have studied this in your undergraduate course. Now we have done this. So we have got all the values written like this. Now, if you look at it, what type of expansion it is? So since the expansion is isentropic, since the expansion is isentropic, isentropic means it is a reversible adiabatic process. So therefore, entropy at point 1 is equal to entropy at point 2. That is, entropy at this point and entropy at this point is same. That's the meaning of it. Okay, that's the meaning of it. So what is S1? It is 5.7081. What is S2? See, S2 is nothing but, see, this particular point, it is wet steam. So it should be SF plus X into Sg minus Sf. So the formula for S2 is equal to Sf2 plus X into Sg2 minus Sf2. This is the formula which I am supposed to use. So I am going to use that. What is your Sf2? Your Sf2 or S liquid 2, whatever it may be. Okay, this is 2.9206 plus, what is the dryness fraction? It is x2. I will call it as x2, which is the 0.2, x2 into 5.9735 minus 2.9206. So 5.7081 minus 2.9206 divided by 5.9735 minus 2.9206. Just do that and tell me the value of x2. Simple subtraction and division. Around 0.9 you have to get. You can round off to 2 decimals or 3 decimals. 0.91. I am getting 0.913 or something. So you should get in the similar around the same number. Are you getting this? Someone can do it, no?
0.9120, sir.
Okay, fine. Around 91. So 0.91. So now what is your H2? I don't know the value of H2. So enthalpy at 0.2. Enthalpy at 2. That is, your H2 is equal to HF2 plus X2 into Hg2 minus HF2. So what is your HF2? It is 1154.5 plus 0.91 or 0.913 into Hg2 is actually 2794.2 minus 1154.5. All are in kilojoules. So your H2 also will be in kilojoules. It should be a value less than your 2794. 0.9 times of it, something like that. Somewhere around 2600 some change.
$2,651.54.
2651.5. Okay, let it. Kilojoules per kg. So now I got H2. Now what is the formula we know? See, the exit velocity of the nozzle, the exit velocity of the nozzle is given by, what is the formula actually?
Point
Yes,
something square root of.
V2 is equal to 44.72 into square root of H1 minus H2. Or you can, if you want, you can use this formula also. You can use this formula also. Your V2 square by 2 is equal to H1 minus H2. The same thing you'll end up with. And you have to ensure that this H1 and H2 are in kilojoules per kg. So this is this formula. Or you can use this formula. Straight away we have derived it actually. So you are substituting that. V2 is equal to 44.72 is equal to, this is H1 is equal to 2751, okay, 2751 minus H2 is 2651.5. So we will be getting my V2 as
446, sir.
446. That's fine. So 446 meters per second. So this is the exit velocity. This is your exit velocity. Okay, fine. So I want you people to try the same problem. Okay, did we consider the mass flow rate here?
Since it is 1, no, sir.
Yes. Now I want you people to try the same. What will happen if I increase the mass flow rate? Exit velocity, what will happen? Will it increase or decrease? Just now we discussed, no? It is, see, your diameter, your velocity, all the things, rho AV, everything depends on your mass flow rate or discharge. If I increase my mass flow rate, the velocity also should increase. If I change it to 1.2, the velocity will be more than 446. It may be around 500. Okay, now this mass flow rate, if I increase to 1.2, the velocity will increase. I want you people to try. See, just try the same problem. So as an homework, you try this as an homework. So try the same problem using Mollier chart. Using Mollier chart. Okay, if you try to use Mollier chart, you'll be getting a good amount of information how this particular thing is working.